Formula One star and Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton has been making a lot of waves in the news recently, specifically for being an advocate for the LGBTQ community. But recently, the world-class driver has been hitting the papers for something different. Find out why Hamilton's decision to purchase an ownership stake in the Denver Broncos group has been the talk of the town, plus other exciting news from the F1 world. First up, the investment itself. Seven-time Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton recently announced that he would be joining the new Denver Broncos ownership group as an investor. Now, what exactly does that mean? In business terms, it simply means that the athlete will have a stake or ownership in the group according to how much he's invested. The news was announced first by the Denver Broncos, who called Hamilton a champion competitor who knows how to lead a winning team. They also said they appreciated his global activism, which he has been a part of across all fronts, but especially his own sport. Hamilton's announcement was a bit more adorable, though, with the help of his furry friend. He shared a picture of his dog Roscoe wearing a Broncos t-shirt with the caption, "Roscoe already thinks he made the team." That sounds so cute. Hamilton also said that he was honored to be a part of what he called a world-class team. He also received extremely welcoming treatment from Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, who is one of Hamilton's good friends. Given the fact that Wilson and his wife attended one of his races this year at the Monaco Grand Prix this year, if sports fans want to catch a glimpse of their favorite athletes, we think the Walton-Penner group is exactly the place to be. Next up, the Denver Broncos acquisition. To really understand this issue properly, we need to give you guys a little bit of backstory. Recently, the Denver Broncos got acquired by a group led by Rob Walton. Walton is known as the presumed heir of the Walmart Corporation and also as one of the leaders of the Walton-Penner group, which has now completed the final acquisition of the Broncos. This is the same group that Hamilton has now decided to invest in, which shows us that Rob Walton must really have a fondness for athletes and for politicians. Last month, one of the investors that joined the ranks of the group was none other than the former U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. The group has been attracting a lot of high-profile investors lately, so that must mean that they're doing something right. Acquiring the Broncos must be doing wonders for their publicity as well, and it had better, given how much they spent on the team. In a deal that broke the record for acquisition of an American sports franchise, the Broncos and the Walton-Penner Group really negotiated a solid sales agreement. The group spent a hefty $4.65 billion on the takeover, which is an insane amount of money. The final step of the process isn't complete yet, though, which is going to be decided on August 9th. This is because the NFL needs to go through a few procedures to formally approve the sale, such as a vote against the team owners to formally approve the sale. This meeting is expected to take place in Minneapolis, after which it is expected for the sale to be done and dusted. Lastly, why is Hamilton joining their ranks so important? Like we mentioned, Hamilton is revered worldwide for his advocacy. Despite going through his fair share of racism and homophobia over the course of his career, the league's commissioner, Roger Goodell, is also known for his advocacy. And he isn't all talk. In fact, he's a big supporter of including minorities as much as possible. Hamilton joins a group of black members which has only recently come aboard their team. The first one was Rice, and the other one, also a black woman, is chair of the Starbucks board, Melody Hobson. This is the latest in the group's attempt at being a bit more diverse and inclusive, as is the case for many organizations across the world, but especially in the United States. Like Goodell said, there is a need to include minorities in all sports around the world, but especially in terms that actually make a difference. For example, Hamilton will now have ownership rights in the Denver Broncos. What do you guys think about Hamilton's latest venture with the Walton-Penner Group? Did he make the right move investing in the Denver Broncos? Other related news. First up, Russell Wilson discusses his contract. Recently, Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson has been in negotiations with the Denver Broncos about his contract extension and recently made a heartwarming confession about where he stands with the Broncos. Wilson said that he's been giving his best every day at training camp because he wants to be with the franchise for a long time. Quarterbacks have been getting super expensive recently, especially when it's time for an extension. Recently, another another deal made the papers for how expensive it was. Kyler Murray signed an extension for 5 years with the Arizona Cardinals that could amount to a huge sum of $230 million. Another quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who plays for the Baltimore Ravens and who is also self-represented in his hearings, is also expected to strike a deal worth millions of dollars. As for Wilson, though, there is speculation that his new deal could earn him around $50 million a year. This is an insane amount. Wilson, when asked about Lamar and Murray, said that he didn't worry about them too much and it was awesome what they were doing, but he really wanted to stay with the Broncos for the rest of his career because the whole experience with the guys had been a blessing for him. He even said that he was trying to focus on winning the Super Bowl with the Broncos. Pretty ambitious, don't you think? But hey, if anyone can lead the Broncos to victory, it's Russell Wilson. Next up, Broncos replace Patrick with W.R. Shepard. We all remember the devastating day when Broncos receiver Tim Patrick ended the season with an injury. Patrick found himself on the IR because he suffered from a torn ACL on the right side. The Broncos have been in a compromising situation since. Because Patrick was one of their lead receivers, and they had to scramble to look for someone to replace their star player. It seems they've found their match though, because they recently signed Darius Shepard to replace Patrick until he recovers. Patrick's spot is a roster spot, but Shepard seems to be adjusting to it quite well. Given the fact that he was seen performing extremely well at practice the other day, Shepard is known for playing with the Green Bay Packers previously, but his new team seems to be getting quite used to him. Given the fact that they think of him as dependable, smart, and tough, lastly, Borgie replaces Demaria Crockett. The Broncos have been switching around their lineup a lot these days because Shepard wasn't the only addition to the Broncos team this season, just like Patrick is also not the only player who got injured that day. An hour before Patrick's injury, running back Demaria Crockett had his knee blown out, and now he won't be able to play for 2 weeks. To replace him, the Broncos have brought on Colorado native Matt Borgie, who also played at Washington State and received multiple awards, including the Fred Biletnikoff Award for Top College Receiver and the Doak Walker Award for Top College Running Back, which is the position that he is now filling for the Broncos. Borgie said that he just wanted to play, and he wanted to play in Denver since some of his best memories as a kid were made at the Broncos training camp that he used to attend. That sounds so sweet. We're really happy he finally got to live his dream. Borgie is also not the only Colorado native to join the ranks of the Broncos. A few years ago, Philip Lindsay is also an undrafted stint for the Broncos a few years ago, and Borgie seems to be following in his footsteps as well. He said that he intended to speak to Lindsay so that he could get pointers on what to do from him. Borgie has already been training with him this summer, so before he made the decision to play for the Broncos. Interestingly, Borgie signed with the Indianapolis Colts, but they decided to rethink their decision a week later only to sign his friend, Lindsay. Was Borgie angry? Not at all. He did say that it was crazy random that there are hundreds of running back free agents in the game, and it was his friend who ended up taking his job, but he said that it had nothing to do with anyone and that it was just part of the business. According to Borgie, what's more important is the opportunity to show what he is capable of as a player, and you can't disagree with him on that, can you? That's a wrap for this video. What did you think about Hamilton's new investment decision? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.